Let's see what's going on here. Good morning, everybody.
You good? Okay. I trade you 1,900. Okay?
All right, let's get this going. We are live. What does it matter? It's all good. All good.
You're winning today.
Yes, let's get it. Alrighty. Let's see what happens with these levels here. 617. Call that the overnight low. Morning, everybody. I posted up the levels to watch for this week. If you wanted to read the whole write-up, you can go up to the link. I also posted that in the link in the bio of the YouTube, as well as the alerts in TradeCaster. So let me just put my other stuff on here. Beautiful thing about trading this one thing is you don't have to be searching for everything all day. You just come in here, ready for the day, do whatever you need to do. As long as you have your levels set up, you're good to go. I can change these up. We go with overnight high here. Previous day high is all down here. I don't know why it's gone on this chart. Oh, that's one day. Previous day low is down, yeah. It's pretty easy to set up my levels. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. We just go with the key levels, key areas from previous day, previous session. I take note of other key levels, and then I just go from there. Russell's a little heavier. We have NVDA earnings this week, so I would anticipate some not flat price action per se, but I would expect more sideways, less crazy movement up until that Wednesday after market, post market. We are getting a delta divergence already, right? You can see prices flattening out and delta's trying to sell off. That would be interesting to see what happens come open. If this dissipates and we get an even clean delta, see what direction we push. I would like to be pushed down into those overnight lows, right? And then we can have a nice either bounce on the open, or we can see if that flush comes into play that I was mentioning as well. So Monday morning, let's not go crazy right off the jump. Wait for something to set up for you. Get yourself into a good rhythm for the week, and let's make some money. Let's make some money. So I'm waiting for my coffee. To be delivered by the wife. I'll go over some of these equities already. Microsoft still middle range between 419 and 422. Looks like it wants to open on pre-market lows. NVIDIA pushing up on the higher end at 939.11. Let me see if this works. Hold on. I think this one has the mic that works. Okay, we're good. So NVIDIA, yep. Between 939 and 918, obviously you see push down, bounce. I don't draw these levels up. I just switched to this chart. I've had this level for some time. These levels just play over and over and over again. So we leave them out there and then they play pretty nicely. So we bounce off that pre-market. Could we come down a bit? Or if we bowl through that, then up into these levels here for the day could be interesting. Just based on the way that flush happened on Friday, it sort of seemed like a grab of liquidity, even in the NQ. I did mention Microsoft pushing down towards that lower end of my two zones. Amazon gave you a nice wick off little bottom there, and now is looking to try and turn green from those pre-market lows. It's pretty much on support here at 183.50. So if it does get down into 183.50 and bounces from there, then you could expect a rotation higher. Although we do have down to 180.11 if it does crack, so I would watch that. Meta, I don't really have much on this. That's not Meta. Meta, just kind of chopping around the last few days. Tesla ran up pretty nice on Friday. We've balanced out in between the same price point from a few days prior to that. You know, that week pretty much stays flat. We stay in the range of 170 up to 185. You know, give or take a few dollars here and there. We'll see what Tesla wants to do as the week moves on. We have some news on it. Up 25% lows. Is the worst over for Tesla stocks? Possibly. We also had a little bit of news, which was the Iranian president got killed in a helicopter crash. So we got to see what kind of global economic impact that has when it comes down to if there's going to be a new leader that's even more extreme, or if they're going to come into some other type of ideas that maybe aren't aligned with the current Iranian regime, or it's just going to be more of the same. There's a 30-minute here on the NQ. We are going to push right into those overnight lows, so potentially could get a nice little opening range bounce play off that low. So I'm going to be watching this level right here for that bounce. We do have into these lows here, though, so I will be cautious. Down into 28s. 30. I mean, you could get all the way down to 20, but I don't want to be saying that that's going to happen right off the jump. We do have a nice little bit of a distance for a reversion, so I am going to be watching that come the market open. So I want to see a nice little push down, a flush. I want to see this staying heavy, then pop a bit, give me a little bit of an indication that it wants to turn, although it looks like it's trying to already. Right, we wick through this single band of VWAP down here. I want to see this get into that red line, have Delta help us out here, and then we'll get that failed flush of the overnight low. If it continues to flush, then we'll watch down into that 600 for the liquidity to be a buyer down there. So wait and see. It's all we can do here. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Did something fun. I worked, so that's as fun as it gets. But we took some time off from the charts. We are going to try and get a couple more XFAs after drawing our other XFA down a bit for the week. So we're going to try and get two more. We're copy trading currently on this combine and a second combine. So we'll see. This is the low there. We'll see if we can get ourselves 2 or 3 more this week. And then just start like banking them. That's really what I'm going to be looking to do. I want to start banking them and just having one after another to be just in play, so I could leverage copying, and I'm going to leverage the payout structure of having multiple payouts coming in. So that's the goal for the funded accounts. Let's we have about there. We're open. Let's get it. No real movement right off the jump. Interesting. I gotta put NVDA back up. NVIDIA's up. NVIDIA's selling from that high. Flush that little base level there. So let's see if we can get this to push into this overnight low. It will be nice to get it to go a little bit and then fail that overnight low. Give me a secondary attempt to break through it. I would even like to see a close right here. And then I would wait to see that second candle to pop right over that 33 level so we could get back in. But it is pretty heavy because there was a liquidity grab over up into that 18,687 level pre-market. So that's the only thing that's giving me a bit of caution on it. But you can see that's a nice little bounce from that. Right along that VWAP band. First minute candle close opening range there. It's about 50 ticks, so it's not a terrible risk, but I don't want to take the first break of it. I still want to see it push down through this low, clean this up since we're so close to it. we are going to be leveraging 2 contracts at a time. NVIDIA looks like it wants to break upside. I want this to crack lower once. It might have been a miss there. We might have missed it potentially based on it not getting all the way to the overnight low, but I still feel like it could get there, so I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to just hammer into this just to hammer in, but I felt that long off this opening range trade is probably a good idea, but maybe we get back down to it, get back into that range, give you that fail break, and then rotate higher. But this is a nice push currently. There it is. Up over the volume nodes into low volume here at 656. Probably just pops right to VWAP. No issues there. That trade nets you $300 per contract off the breakout of the opening range. So we missed that opening range trade to the high side. If you caught it, good. I did not. Now we're going to be watching, see what happens at VWAP. Maybe a pull back into that overnight low. If not, I think it's not really going to pull back into that after that pull. That's really a disappointing move there because I really like that a lot. I wanted to see that one more tick to the downside, to be honest with you. I guess it's close enough of late. We have to start front running some of these levels. It's kind of what's been getting us to be into misses. NVIDIA is absolutely ripping, so no FOMO, just look for an entry or don't. We're about 800 away from taking this one into a new XFA, and then the second one is brand new basically, so it's up 600 and change. Nothing crazy on that second one. Then we're going to push into the previous day highs here, right at the 75 level. And then we're overnight highs. The original overnight highs were here at 79 before we started to pop into that level. So 79, 75 was the previous high, which is kind of what we just tagged off on. But I think now that we're pushing up into this, we got to watch and see what happens at the overnight highs. See if we get something similar to what happened at 730. Rotate back to VWAP off that, but this seems very strong. Straight upside. Straight upside. I was talking about that opening range trade. Pretty easy risk to reward there, 225. I mean, you barely could have. You could have realistically probably still been in this with a trail down the VWAP. Up 310. Per trade, you're up per contract. This is up 800. If you rotate overnight high to overnight low, or overnight low to overnight high, I should say. There we go, tagging that. And now we cracked through that high. So now we need to see what Delta brings us. Will we get any sort of divergence up here? Will it push up into... This blue line doesn't matter. This is just here. I'm going to put it somewhere else. We closed right there. Probably where that candle popped from. Yeah. That previous day close is where we bounced from. So we're ripping. There is a straight up delta. Buyers are aggressive. They're not really looking back. The Russell is hitting at resistance at 2105.90. It looks like it is potentially not going to run right through it. It ran all the way up. The opening range on the Russell for the 5 minutes, that was a pretty wide range, but it is turning around. So we could watch this for a delta divergence setup. See if we could get a pop through, maybe a little bit of a hold here, a pullback, a lower high, and then see if we can get in on that setup. But right now I'm not looking to catch it right the first move. Probably should have looked to catch this one on the first move, but that's just is what it is on that regard. There's not really much entry criteria here for you, except for it's stalling. 58% long on the tilt. Hopefully somebody caught that opening range break. I wanted it to get down into the overnight low. That's just my preference for that setup, just because we were so close to it. Once we started to get up above this 47.50 level, it just kept getting stronger, and pushed pretty aggressively. We did just kind of push right through all the overnight levels without any issue just now. So if we do get up above here, I did mention that 18,700 level, pretty close right here. Didn't really hit off of it. Just shy of 18.7. The high right now is 18.699. Wait for it to sweep that level. Yeah, wait for a pullback, Zuka-san, or wait for something. It's very difficult to just play a straight up 1 minute candle, right? With that being said, up into 713 could run you into resistance, and then I think if we continue on 739 and beyond, above that, 760 is the all-time high right here. 760.75. That's the all-time high right there. You can see S&P is much closer to their VWAP. We're extended away above these overnight highs. We are at and above on the S&Ps here. This is above VWAP, approaching the all-time high levels again. Thank you. Espresso time. Top of this is 711. 711. Let's see what it looks like on the other chart. Kind of stagnating on Delta, but still pushing upside. There's no reason for this to kind of slow down. It's very aggressive buyers. Kind of pushing through an area of very limited resistance. Very low volume up here because of the all-time high levels. Well, talked about it. Wanted that long off the early jump. And didn't get it. So now we're just patient. Let things set up for us. Russell leading to the downside quite heavily. Delta still popping up. I want to flush of my previous day high, overnight high levels. We're at that upper band of VWAP, which does give this pause. Delta is still kind of just lingering around here at the highs. Lower high in price. Delta still trying to push up. Price not playing along. Russell trying to bounce at 2101. NVDA straight up. Microsoft straight up. Tesla straight down. Apple bounced up to 190 and is rejecting 190, or sitting right at that 190 level. That's a little gappy right there. Very interesting price action at that level there. Does it look like that over here as well? No, it's probably smooth. So we were pushing down. Delta's holding her higher up. I want to see if this is going to bounce off the previous day high, overnight high level, or if it's going to accept back below here. Delta is getting heavier. I would like to get a push back up, give me a lower high into that 700 level again before I consider shorting this. Right? First touch doesn't usually get me through. I like failed breakouts. I like that. I want to see this get up into that 700 level. We have nothing on the docket. It's just going to be Fed speakers today. So watch that. I want this to push up again one more time. Really, the ideal situation is if Delta holds lows. But really, if price gets pushed up, I think Delta's going to continue to push up with it. I need it to get up into 700 right now. Maybe, yeah. All right, now that we're pushing up a little bit, maybe I want it a little bit higher, but if it does want to flush now, I want to take advantage of it straight to VWAP. Delta trying to push higher, price not playing along. Russell caught a little bit of a bounce. S&P's is catching a little bit of a bounce. All right, so we pushed up to 18.7. Delta is stronger to the upside than price. If price breaks the high, I would guess that this 721.50 probably gets touched. Upper band. That's the setup. See if the overnight high breaks this time around. If it comes back down to it. If not, then the continuation just plays out. I have my order set for it if in case it does decide to just melt off. I have a feeling that we won't get triggered into this, potentially. But that's just a feeling. It's not really super accurate. I think potentially right now through here, 2 contracts. If we do get the flush to VWAP, then we make ourselves our funded account or get very close to our funded level on this XFA, on this combine that we're working with right now. Working on 2 combines. If you watch the stream, I have 1 XFA. It's drawn down to a point where I want to get myself a buffer of a couple more. Realistically, the goal should be to have as many as you possibly can. Leverage the ability to take payouts. And then with the drawdown, you just figure it out from there. But NVIDIA is still going, marching to the upside. Microsoft, upside still. Microsoft has overhead resistance really right here at 425.40. So if it does break through that, then potentially up to 427.15 for Microsoft, which may continue this up. But that is a good area for it to kind of run into a wall. I would like to see NVIDIA break. So we are attempting to make new highs. Obviously, Delta was making new highs well prior to price. If we can't make new highs on price, you have this Delta divergence here. But I think if you crack this high here, with this Delta, you get a good squeeze follow through here. This is the time where Delta was leading you, right? When you get to this previous day high, my strategy is to play failed breakouts, but I need something to tell me that the breakout wants to fail, right? So when we break through this overnight high, previous day high level, and you get this super strong Delta carrying you to the upside, and you start to get a pullback, but Delta does not play along, right? Delta stays flat. It kind of just tells you that this doesn't want to go through to the downside quite yet. As soon as you start to be lingering around here and Delta's pushing up, you're starting to get that failed breakdown continuation idea coming into play because the Delta is here. There's aggressive buyers coming in. As it confirms over key levels, over here, over this candle, with strong Delta, you expect the continuation to continue on to occur. Does it guarantee it? I don't think so. Especially if it's doing what it's doing now, right? Where it's kind of fighting that breakout, even though more and more aggressive buyers are piling into that level. So could be a quick cheap short from the high back down to the overnight high. Smaller size if you wanted to. But I would be cautious because it could just rip at any second. Like a break of that. Right down into here. Pulling back, Delta pausing still, pausing at the highs. Russell pushing back upside. Things that kind of make you go, will this continue on? Or is the NQ the actual leader and wants to lead to the downside? Cheap short versus the high was, the entry was probably 703, stop over 714. But I did mention that 713 level is probably going to be a stronger area of resistance. 713, 715, 717. S&P is relatively strong, right? Trying to break through those highs. If it cracks through this white line, then I would see a squeeze come back. NVIDIA gave you like a double wick top. With earnings on Wednesday, you got to just watch price action throughout the week, see where it's going to end up on Wednesday. If it ends up on the highs, I'd be cautious, but it could just continue to rip. Still getting that Delta, just not wanting to follow through. But if we can get a big break here in Delta while this breaks through our previous day high, overnight high, that's the strategy, right? If we're not taking everything into account, we do have NVIDIA selling off. We do have down into VWAP for a reasonable first target, so it's not a terrible risk to reward where we could just, pull our risk up into that 700 area and see what happens. If this is just going to bottom tick us and rotate us out, that's fine too, but we're going to play the strategy as it says to be played. I also believe that's a rotational day more today than a big rip rally day. Low data. It's 700 down to 695. There's a node there. Lower volume into previous day high. Looking to kind of attract into these zones. Previous day high is value area high. Waiting. If you're on YouTube, head over to tradecaster.com. The link is in the description of the video. Great platform over there that we got going on. If you're also on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I am going to start trying to post some education videos and stuff like that as I see things move. There's some faster price action. You can see the tape is speeding up. S&P, as I said, once it cracks that all-time high, that white line, that squeeze is probably on. So I'd say we probably get to that level above us. 640 up into, 18,739 up into all-time highs at 760. This is how Delta can help you, right? I was mentioning that the Delta, I just want to see if the sound is on correctly. I was mentioning how the Delta was being relatively strong, pullback, relatively strong, flat. Same here, pullback, relatively strong, and then you finally get a big break. You grab a bunch of that liquidity, you crack that high, and now the squeeze is on, and who knows how high it goes. Russell's pushing upside, S&P's pushing upside. I'm sure, let's see, NVIDIA's pushing back to the high side. I'm going to get rid of this stop order because we're not. It doesn't want to cancel. Flat and all. Okay, that's great. Orders are stuck. That's great. Top Step X seems to be not cooperating. It's not a good. That's not a good look for Top Step X. So we'll watch. Hopefully our order got canceled. All right. This happens time and time again. I love the Top Step X platform. I think they have to deal with volume issues still. I love it for the features that it's got going on. Everything like that is great, but at the same time, we don't have. It seems like this crash happens frequently of late. I think it's the more people that they've put into the platform, the more it decides that it wants to crash. So we are going to switch over to this account here. I'm going to go into micros in case I do get a setup. Hopefully my trade got canceled. The order got canceled. That'd be great. Sitting on top of that upper band of VWAP. I want to see this thing. I have to get my my data to load here. Now you're starting to see where Delta's trying to fight price a bit, so that divergence there is important to note. Although price is still trying to push through highs, Delta is not doing the same thing it was doing before, where it was just ripping up, ripping up, ripping up. So we will be mindful of that. Still nothing here. NVDA is still pushing upside. NQ, if you look over here, our NQ running right into that next level of resistance, 18,739. I kind of didn't really feel like today was going to be this much of a squeeze day, but damn, that opening range trade was a beautiful thing. Yeah, that opening range trade was the one to grab for sure. Unfortunately, did not take that chance. We would be probably have stopped out at once we got into that upper band. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully you're doing all right. If you're on Top Step X, it is down. I'm watching their stream now to see when they get a chance to fix it or whatnot. We don't have a. Last time this happened, if you were in a position, things like that, they make things right. So I would not panic if something happens to your account, if you burn it or something like that, because you're stuck in a position. They will make things right. That's another great thing about Top Step is it's annoying because you feel like, all right, maybe if you caught this long here and you're trying to look to trail out or something and you're stuck, so be it. Sucks to suck. You're in. You could be good. Your Top Step X is working now? Yeah, mine is not. Mine's black. Maybe it's coming back. So maybe it's not everybody, but don't refresh your screen, Kramer, because it might not work. I had an order set that I tried to cancel, and I realized that it wasn't working. So I got out. I tried to refresh the screen, and then once I hit refresh, it disappeared. So I'm watching Top Step, see if it's working. Seems like it's coming back. There we go. We're back. I still can't cancel my orders. There we go. Flat and all. All right, we're back. Good. Good to know. So that's, they're very quick with their support, their tech. Things go down, things come back up. Just be cautious with, this isn't how real markets work at times. Sometimes things crash, you have to deal with adversity while you're in your trade. So just be mindful of that. Espresso's gone. Time for the regular pour over, scalper's delight. Yeah, I would avoid. I mean, really, at this point, there's no position to be had. I don't think. We have all-time highs right here. The Unless you're going to play some sort of all-time high breakout, which is going to be so difficult to trade. I have no breakout trades of all-time highs. Yeah, 760 is that all-time high right there. I mean, maybe take a long off this 49 and just try to hope that you get over the all-time high. But there's no entry criteria. This is just more of like play a momentum pop. I'm not looking to do this. Is it likely that it's going to tag 60? Yes. But right here, right now, it could literally just melt off from here, and you just have no setup. There's no reason to rhyme or reason for it. So there's no reason to take that trade. I'm annoyed a little bit about this trade here. I talked about it. I said we're going to take the opening range breakout if we get to the overnight low. It's hard to be mad about it because it didn't quite make my entry criteria because this yellow line right here, I didn't invalidate it. I didn't get a breakdown. It did hold this level, which I did think was pretty important, the 40 on Friday, but I wanted that a little bit deeper into that overnight low. I didn't trust that first breakout over the level. I thought maybe we pull back, sweep some of these lows, then rotate up. But that's why it's trading. Sometimes you're going to miss these. It's okay. But I like I said, I did mention it right off the jump. I was talking about pre-market open. I said, hey, we're going to look and see if we can get that opening range breakout trade because of our proximity to the overnight low. We just never caught that last little layer of probability to get ourselves in, and we missed out on a nice little rally here, especially because I'm trading two contracts at a time. Trail one at VWAP, the other gets to break even. Then as you breach VWAP, you basically hold VWAP as your stop for that second contract, then go candle to candle, and you're not in any trouble to get stopped out till pretty much the overnight high, and that's really where I probably would have been able to trail that second contract to unnecessarily for this combine, because this combine would have been passed pretty quickly, but then I would have had the other combine running in the background as a follower, so I would have liked to have maximized that gain out of it. There is that. Yeah, when I start to play my game, my normal trading strategy that pushes through levels, fails breakouts and stuff, on markets like this is where days like where I got my XFA in a bit of trouble. So that's why I'm kind of being cautious on these. Even if it breaks 60 and then comes back and gives me my setup here, I don't trust the all-time high breakout failure, to be honest with you. The S&Ps would need to roll over a bit before I decided that I wanted to see if this would fail. Delta playing the same game as it was before. I like the short. I do. I really like it through 739. 739. However, I'm not planning on getting run over today. That's not my goal. It's Monday. We have a long week ahead of us. We're not looking to go crazy. Even on these combines, like I said, I'm close enough to the goal to get another funded to push in and just continue to leverage these funded accounts. So I'm not looking to trade this differently than I would something that's funded, right? I want to execute appropriately. There's the flush of 39. 18,739. Tick below it, above it. If I get a if we get up through the overnight the all-time high this time, and you get a nice wicky candle, then this 39 level becomes more interesting to me. Um, right now, it's hard to say that it's the time to go. Although Delta is pushing through a bit more than prior. It is holding up though, so let's see if we can get this to push up into that all-time high area. This could be just get some shorts involved, push us up. Um, 9:03 a.m. here. We have 0 trades on so far today. We had a little hiccup on Top Step X. I wasn't involved in anything, and I didn't get affected by it, but I know people probably did. If you did, I'm sure Top Step will make it right. They always do. So just be patient, see what happens with it. If you were positively affected by it, then keep your mouth shut, take the gift, and don't worry about it. So I have that on a micro. That's why. I was wondering why it's a little bit different. Okay. Another rip above this upper band. Strong delta, breaking through highs. Price not breaking through highs, but it will. Break right through that level. Let's see what this looks like. Oil running into overhead resistance at $80 a barrel. With the death of the Iranian president, or whatever you would call him, and his foreign ministers, you potentially do have an oil issue brewing, which may lead to increased prices in barrels of oil, which is obviously you're seeing some tick up. Last night you saw a sell-off from that, but watching the oil prices at 80, I would be interested to see what happens. I'm not an oil trader. I would like to just kind of observe this just to kind of see what we do get out of that CL futures contract. I want to see if this thing will pop more. This is a nice little push down back through 39. Lower high, low volume node here down to 33. Should I be willing to take this trade now? We're too close to all-time highs for me to take it, but I do like it. Didn't get to a level. I'm going to avoid executing here. But you can see why I'm interested in it at that level. That top consolidation there. This zone here, basically from here to here, is interesting. Not like I said, it's not that it's per se like tradable per se, but it's interesting to me. This is the top end of that breakdown, and this is the bottom end of that consolidation. So this became a big liquidity zone. I would not, like I said, I'm interested in that 39 level because of my level that I drew up prior. That was technically the all-time high prior to that big break above it. This was that pre-market all-time high level that was created. I think that we can continue on through this all-time high, and then, like I said, I don't know. My write-up says 19,000 at some point gets touched because of big round numbers. I don't know. Don't know. Does crude squeeze through 80? If it does 80, 60, that next overhead resistance for crude. Like I said, I'm not a crude trader. I don't really know even the tick values, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't be just like hammering into it on a Monday where I don't know. But just thinking about global economic impacts of news events and stuff like that is really going to kind of help you structure some trades on whatnot. So if you are a crude trader and you look at the news, right? The news from the day is that the Iranian president died, whatever, from a helicopter crash. You need to know what the new regime is going to do, what kind of oil, embargoes, what kind of if we're going to get better relations with them because there's a new guy in charge or not. It's really going to come down to, are they going to, is the next guy up going to want to blow up Israel like the first week that he's there? All these things could play into oil prices, could play into all-time high levels in our charts. So look at that squeeze right through 80. So once a level cracks, it does seem like it goes pretty good. I don't know the tick values of oil, like I said, so I couldn't, judge. Let me see if there's a $10 per tick per contract. So $10 per penny. $100 per 10 cents. So, just looking at that, seeing those news, if you go to things like oilprices.com, which I like to have, I always have it giving me alerts. I always end up over here. Breaking news, Australian producers warn of natural gas crunch. So I would guess NG is probably also pushing up some. There's that push. Natural gas giving a nice pop as well because of Australia saying that there's a warn of a natural gas crunch. So this is how you could trade other kind of markets aside from just these equities markets, is understanding global economic impacts of certain news events that are going to help you price in data to get you to be able to trade and execute around this stuff. So I do the way I trade and the way I analyze some news stuff and macro events and things like that. I think adding some of these other instruments into my playbook is going to help me accelerate my growth as far as trading is concerned. However, just right now during the time that I have, I really do need to just kind of focus in and get what I'm doing. Just continue to focus on what I'm doing until it stops really working, and then go from there. And then also when I have more time to just dedicate, right, I'll do that. But right now it's purely equities for me. I've developed a decent trading strategy for this NASDAQ. There's no reason for me to just go venturing elsewhere at the moment. We are slowing down here, but that doesn't give me the it needs to go short idea. You do have some aggressive buyers still trying to pour in. You have the opposite divergence, right? You have price getting lower, and you have delta making higher lows. Whichever way cracks first probably wins, right? If the delta gives up and starts to get heavy, then this price action probably starts to get heavy. And as I mentioned, through 39, you do have a low volume node here, so down 39 to 34 could give you this another wiki type bottom. So I would be sort of cautious on that. Just based on the trendy type day, everything is trending. You know, you have that support could act as support here. Like I said, around that 36, it could chop around, push down into there. Just be mindful of all that. You see Delta pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Price knocking its head on this little overhead resistance. If you finally crack through this, with Delta being aggressive to the high side and price not playing along, if it does get through a key level, then I would expect a bit of a pop into that, maybe the upper band of VWAP and into the all-time highs. Russell's still upside. S&P is still upside. Lower highs in price, higher lows in Delta, still giving me a little bit of caution, a little bit of pause, because I feel like the price wants to catch up to Delta at this point. I'm not trying to fight momentum on a day like today. I mentioned it time and time again. I'm not really the best momentum breakout type trader, but if that's the environment that we're going to come into, I'm going to start having to try and play some of these pullback breakouts. I kind of felt like this was definitely coming into play here. This break once, twice, third time through here, higher low, the way Delta was acting. You were just getting a lot of information here saying that this price wanted to go higher. So this could have been a good breakout because it held the overnight high. Then you can play the breakout above. You know, just kind of thinking through what a good strategy would be for me to take advantage of some move like this. Just looking for that confluence. I'm a big confluence trader, wanting to find things that are going to line up. That's going to give me the added idea of best timing. This is really winding up, tightening up. Did we get extended enough? I don't think so. With the S&Ps making new all-time high after new all-time high, I think we do have. Well, actually didn't make all-time high. That was the previous all-time high. This is the all-time high here, so we are not quite there yet. My mistake. That was the all-time high prior. That was where we broke out from, but it broke out from that level again, so that was important to note. And then overnight highs was right here. And overnight lows was here. And that's a big gap there. But that probably is because of the
contract size is 25,000 pounds.
mess.
Right, it is.
That's a little bit better. What's that other resistance there? The previous all-time high breakout level, same as the NQ, kind of lingering around that level at 43 quarters. The 39 level trying to hold. NVIDIA giving wiki top wedging out a bit. If NVIDIA does give this up, this little wedge type pattern here, if NVIDIA gives this up and holds down below here, then I would anticipate the NQ starting to do its rollover thing. That 39 risk to 40, down to 34, 33. NVIDIA's giving up. Seems like a cheap short to me. Delta is giving up. Price is not catching up. I think if we get through the low here, we can continue on. I'll take that chance. I'll take a chance where I'm going to risk to 40 if we break through this level here at 31. Just based on Delta following through to the downside. The high volume node here is at 34. I mean, the other end of that is 32. NVIDIA recovered that wick, so it could have been just a liquidity grab there. But if it does melt off, I would enjoy it. Like to take that short from here, just being a little bit aggressive on it. But it's kind of being tricky. There's a good delta pop. Price is going to go to all-time highs on that kind of pop there. Look at that super aggressive buyer swept through that low there. This is why I place my entries where I do, right? Because I don't want to be tricked into a short at my level because it's such an interesting level for people to be into it. The all-time high and the upper band of VWAP are right next to each other. So I would be interested in that. I think if this gave up, though, that would definitely be a failed breakout. So that 39 level would be nice to take a short on. But I do think that a squeeze probably comes in. Still 50-50-ish, 58% long on the tilt. I'm watching this delta just continuing to give aggressive buyers coming in. Aggressive buyers coming in. What's this commitment of trade chart? COT. This is a COT chart here. Commitment of traders. The red line down here is commercial people, merchants, processors, swap dealers. Green line is non-commercial large dealers, large speculators, and the purple blue square here is retail, small speculators, right? So if you can differentiate, small retail is getting shorter, larger commercial getting longer. As we're approaching these highs, they were short. I think maybe you could get a bit more short institutionally, but it's not extended, right? It seems like everything's kind of coming in here. And then here, this is the commitment of trade financial, commitment of trade chart. So green, non-commercial, small speculators still below that zero line where they're short. So potentially a little bit diverged there in the trader's idea of Russell sold off really hard there from the higher end. I would like a failed breakout. That's what I'm going to short through this 36. Wick. If it gets to it here this time, if it doesn't wick you out, then it should give a flush. That's my idea. I'm going to stick to it. But if it gets to here and bounces and rotates through all-time highs, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I'm just willing to execute something here on this idea of a failed breakout. This candle shouldn't get canceled. With that kind of volume entering into that candle, I mean, it wasn't huge volume, so it wasn't like, spectacular. But if that's going to be the buyer, there's going to be sell stops here. And I think that could help kind of induce us into a short. And then stops below 31 as well. That's if this gets canceled. If this doesn't, it's still strong. It's still going to rotate us higher. NVIDIA is still holding that 946 level. It's rotating up. Delta knocking its head up on the upside here. Trying to be longer, trying to be aggressive. Price, once again, fighting it. So the aggressive buyers are there, but the size seems to be above. But that looks like a pattern that if it breaks this, you rotate higher. Right, a break of this high, a pop. NVIDIA stock is a bargain if this pattern holds. Okay, I don't believe you. We are at greed. We're not at extreme greed. I didn't check today, but I bet extreme greed comes in soon. So that's a good time to be short with extreme greed. So close to that all-time high level. My God, look at that delta pop. Super, super aggressive buyers coming in, continuously coming in here. Aggressive buying, aggressive buying, aggressive buying through that high. The lack of follow through in price is kind of still helping me out here. Although it should kind of continue on based on the way those deltas are acting, the way NVIDIA is acting. Like I said, if this candle gets canceled out after a move like that, then you should get a heavier sell come in. And then it shouldn't even give you any heat before you get to break even. Oh, man. Sorry. Apologize for that stretchy noise. I like wicks like that for my ideas. 67% long on the tilt. Delta pushing up hard. Price not following through. But it was before doing the same thing and then breaking. And then you see that exact bottom tick there on that bottom tick. You got this weird head and shoulders type idea here with the high volume node at 744. So you break through that. You break through this. You break through that. Russell is leading us to the downside now. 18,739 has acted as pretty good support. I would like it to accept down and push into these lows. But a break of 60 probably squeezes us. So be cautious of this break of this white line here. Is there somebody front running that? A bigger seller that's front running that 60, that all-time high level, knowing that price wants to get drawn to it, and just a big seller sitting there on the bid, on the ask? I didn't look and see on the surface, but it's too late now. Wick off high there, wick off high. My sell idea is here, and it's going to come into play. If I get wicked in, wicked out, so be it. I could front run this and just take a short with a smaller contract size and then add as I move forward. If that's something that you're looking to do, watch for the break of that trend line. Watch for this to crack. Be cautious of this 44 level. It could be a liquidity area. If it does get through 44, I think down to 34 kind of snap. And then I want to watch each key level below. S&P is giving you the similar setup. We just broke through that little bit of support, holding, like I said, that 44 level is going to act as support. 44 flushes, then down to 35. Then we get triggered probably, and we see if 35 is going to give us a nice flush or if it's going to bounce and whip us out. But realistically, I'm willing to take that trade off of this manipulation to the high side. Now it makes the shorts a little bit more difficult, and then it gives this a reason to be a stop location for these longs. And then if it wants to stop people stop people out and get people in, that should lead to some more selling down into the bottom end of this purple box, hopefully down into VWAP, which could secure us our nice little win, and then we can, start our week off right. But at least just having a good thesis on why the short would come in right here is why I have it, right? So 39 is that support level. I have it below that level, even though there's a bunch of wicks here. I would think that if we can actually get through it, then maybe that this is the final actual wick. It's not a wick. It's going to actually be a follow through down to the downside. So if we are going to get in, I'm going to run the sirens. We'll see what happens if we get triggered. Oh, there's that light speed deal. I'll show that to you later. Running that siren, see if we can get this short going. it's just an alert, just letting you know that there is potentially the short trade to come in here. Watching this, you see Delta curling back. If we can get one more bounce above here, Delta can hold down lower, and then potentially we get into the short through. Like I said, 44s. The point of control just flipped, and the value area just readjusted, right? So a lot of times when point of control flips, it means there's plenty of orders executed up here to now want to rotate to the other end and seek more liquidity down there. So that's another added layer of confluence for an idea of the short side. However, with the all-time high being right here, like I said, could we squeeze it and push through all-time highs and then beyond? Absolutely, we can. I just think that the trade for me is somebody front-running the all-time highs and then seeing if people can get longer and longer and longer, trying to get to the all-time highs to break out, and then that be the failure, and then we rotate down. So that's what I'm looking for. At least I have a thesis. I have something that I'm looking to take based on a lot of idea confluence levels. Russell was leading us to the downside, continues to use 2105, 90, 2106 as support. So I need to see if that'll break and hold, and then maybe the NQ will follow us to the downside. But you are getting more aggressive buyers coming in once again on the Delta. So if we can push heavier, you get a lower high in Delta, lower high in price. That would be nice. Well, run the sirens again, but I'm going to be over here, so maybe it'll go and not run that. There we go. Let's see. Looking to see if this short will come in. I'm running that siren just to see if that short comes in. Maybe I'm encouraging it to run away to the downside. $44. I say the 39 break gives you like a crack of these wicks here probably gets you a hard push right into where we are right now. The question is, does it follow through or not? I would like to run it up to that 39 level, but I don't quite like the whippy action on it. That's a strong push. Once again, Delta not as aggressive, but still pushing up stronger. Let's see if it does continue on, if that's going to be a good grab or not. Go 39 down, liquidity down to 34. Yeah, so I am going to move my entry to below 39.25. Just because I feel like if we do get triggered, I don't want to be bottom ticked. I want to be front running it a touch down through 39, down through 40. But it is getting, it's speeding up. You can see that the price action is speeding up here. I don't have like huge size right here. 752. I did have a 40 lot, so maybe 100 lot here on the buy. But you see that's a heavy candle there. Let's see if we can get Delta to play with us now. Break down, get through this wick, get through this candle here, then trying to start to rotate. I am front running the entry a little bit. I do want to get through 39, but I think if we get through 39, we give a hard wick down to the bottom end of here at 33. I didn't want to have my entry up here and miss out on a few points when I could have mitigated my risk a little bit better by getting through a key level here. So that's really what I'm looking at. NVIDIA looking to break down again, see if this is the right timing for it. I waited a long time to see if I could time this short correctly. A lot of these things are leading me to believe that there's some bigger size grabbing some liquidity up at these highs, front running that all-time high level, because with the aggressive buying that's coming in and the lack of follow through to the high side, it just kind of gives me that extra layer of there's somebody here looking to sell. And point of control being there, the flipping of the whole value area zone we're starting to wind up a bit.
15-point range in the NASDAQ during initial balance is kind of crazy to see. We haven't moved. It's literally been stuck in like a 10-15 point range for the last 30 minutes. It's crazy.
Very unusual.
Yeah, that
You look at the ETFs.
smells of a Tuesday profile.
It also feels like any motivated seller could push us off a cliff for no reason just by blowing on the price action here. It doesn't feel like there's a ton of interest in building above this so far.
Russell now pushing down again. So with the Russell, every time the Russell seems to tick down a bit, we do get a little bit of selling coming into the NQ. I would like to see the Russell give me a hard flush and get through 2105. If that happens, then maybe this is winding up for something. If I get involved short, I want to have this stop order here in case it does fully rotate. I know I ran the sirens twice. We were approaching my level to short, and it never played out. With that wick off high, if that wick off high gets broken, then 60 breaks, then all-time highs, just kind of a squeeze play comes in. I just feel like the way that Delta's been acting with all that aggressive buying, kind of getting a lot of longs involved to just bring a max pain short in at any time, right? Just the way that this Delta's pushing up, even over here. Big Delta push. Price did not even make new highs at that point. Big Delta push. You flattened out. Big Delta push. We're still flat. Aggressive buyers buying into a key level, an overhead level. Just very interesting to me that it's not going anywhere, which tells me that there's somebody building in a very heavy short position in my thought process behind why a heavy aggressive buyer isn't breaking us through a key all-time high level, because people love to break out all-time high levels and run it up. If the seller gives up, then the squeeze probably does come in. I'm a short biased person, especially up here at these highs. I don't think we have a ton of information telling us that we do need to be at all-time highs. So another reason for markets to be like, all right, we made new all-time highs. We priced in that CPI data. Now let's come back down to earth a little bit pre-NVIDIA earnings. Unless they see something coming with the NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday, that's going to lead them to believe that we're going to get a bad read, and they're going to try and sell it that day from highs. So it's just kind of like an up and down, or they're going to just look to get long now to be longer through NVIDIA earnings. So there's so many different scenarios that could be driving this on the back end, none of which we can influence. So what we need to do is set our entries and look for good, cheap trade locations, execute according to your plan, and then just try and go from there where you can at least capitalize on little pieces of bigger moves. And that's all we can do as retail type traders. So we'll see if this gives up at any point. I'd say, like I said, 44 is that initial flush. If it cracks 44, I think these wicks give up. And then hopefully that induces some selling if we can get below this big candle here. I'm just front running it because I think that 39 is the key level. Down to 710, which is going to probably be VWAP by the time we get there, is that first pretty good idea for a target if this does play out the way it should, if it gets heavy.
4 points off daily highs, not too shabby. It seems like most of the indices are actually a similar structure of kind of breaking out and now.
Russell's now trying to grab a bounce. It bounced off of 05 and just pushing upside. So you might get pushing from the NQ now that the Russell's bid up again. 2110 is coming in on the Russell. Look at this shit price action. So I'm glad that we have our orders in areas that are keeping us out of this. But I think if we break this, we should get at least a little bit of a push down. Let's see what happens. Come on, get us out of this range. Get us down low. If we get wicked in and wicked out and we lose on one, it's worth trying to take that breakdown of this. You see all this volume here, this big volume, thousands of executions. Once we get out of that into like a lower volume area, that's where I have my entry. Because if you suck to low volume, then through that low volume you go down to the next higher volume area is the idea, right? Price wants to go where orders will be executed, and right now they're being executed here. So people want to be here. It's kind of where you don't want to be, to be honest. But if you can get away from the big volume area, you can target the next bigger volume area, which is down in these areas right here, 710, down into 600, 700. You can see larger size at 700. So that's what price wants to do, except if it wants to break all-time highs, then it just wants to see how high it'll go and where orders will get executed on that end. Aggressive buyers seemingly trying to give up. They're holding the highs. Price is flat. Something's winding up. Do you think it could do this all day? Potentially it could. 9:37. We've been open for an hour now. Price went straight up off the open. We were looking at that opening range trade. That's exactly what I was looking to take. Did not execute on it because it didn't quite tick that bottom low that I wanted to flush. Could have took one shot at it and been very happy because it never looked back. But it is what it is. We just didn't take it. Now we're looking to get this entry at the high here, see if we can rotate us back to VWAP. Get this combine passed, get ourselves a second XFA. We're copy trading onto a third combine here to see if that'll get us a third XFA, and just kind of start stacking fundeds. Big buyer coming in here at 50. Last time I saw this, we sold right here. So look for another selling point. We are wedging inside the wedge. So we have a larger wedge here, and then you have another smaller little wedge forming. We'll see which way it breaks. Kind of feels like, I said it feels heavy, but also at the same time, there's a really good chance that all-time high wants to get broken. Another really aggressive buyer coming in. Aggressive buyer coming in. Nothing following through. That is why I have the thought of a seller coming in to play. Because that delta just showing more and more and more and more aggressive buying and little to no follow through to the upside. So one good break to the downside should lead to increased selling pressure. It should be it should only take one seller to break us out of this, because the buyers are not breaking us out to the high side. The thesis is to the short side. So if we get triggered, we get triggered. If we just accept our risk, the trade, whatever happens, happens. That's it. But the thesis is there. If we get ticked out, we get ticked out. If we don't get triggered, we don't get triggered. There's a lot of things that you have to know, that once you think about your trade, your thesis, whatever is going on, then there's a nice little delta. See if we can push that down. Once you think through your trade and you have your execution and everything happens, just, don't overthink it. You're going to get stopped out sometimes. You're going to take profit sometimes. You're going to trail out sometimes and be ticked out, and the price is going to run another 1,000 ticks. It's just kind of how it works. So just execute according to your plan, and then don't continue to FOMO in or revenge trade. If you could avoid those things, the key things to avoid is that FOMO and that revenge. Everything else is, if this is a long and I have a short bias, then the long person won this battle, right? And then you look to the next at bat. But right now I'm saying that with all these aggressive buyers and no follow through, a seller wants to come in, and then when a big seller comes in, I'd say from where we enter to 21 happens pretty quickly. Down to VWAP could also happen pretty fast. So I'm not too concerned that I would get stopped in and then ripped up right away, just purely based on this. But if it breaks through here, watch out. NVDA is selling, and the market's trying to tick up. So maybe we have a little divergence there as well. Once again, You see this price action happening here with the Delta.
Nissan and Valda is also moved up on the list, both with 21-day hands trading at 50K XFAs. And we have two newcomers today, Hunk and Dustin.
There's a break of Delta. There's a break of price. New all-time highs. Nope, almost there.
He suffered a drawdown on Friday after a 22-day run of 5,700 bucks.
44 I mentioned was that high volume area that was going to act as support, which it did. Huge aggressive buyer. Right. Big aggressive buying coming in. Still again. No. There's got to be somebody front running this level.
We've kind of lost the allure of a new all-time high. It's just getting less and less fun every time. Just like Lou, just throwing some confetti in the air.
Another high.
Yeah, it's like every day.
Still didn't print a new all-time high. It does break through here. Does it squeeze because of this aggressive buyer? Did the seller finally give up? I don't know. Could it just tick that 75 and then run right straight down? Is there a seller there? There's a big seller. I got, not big, but I got a seller at 59s. There's a break, 60, 60, 25. New all-time highs made.
Wang took home close to, or more than 10 grand trading gold, copper, and the NASDAQ. Dakota, Salmon, Christopher, and Tom.
Look at that straight up Delta.
We will see Dakota and Salmon's names again in just a little bit. They're both on the top step leaderboard.
Are people going to buy this all-time high now?
Mention out to all these guys.
Graph is pretty serious profits. Yesterday's best. I'm assuming that's Friday.
Correct. Those are Friday candles.
That's really impressive.
So we're getting some extension above the IB and NASDAQ and S&P. Now let's see if those hold up for the next 15 minutes.
Hopefully somebody took something at some point today. I mean, if you're flat and you have zero executions like I do, then good on you as well for not FOMOing in and trying to fight this trend and short that all the way up. I do still like my short idea until this follow through happens through this all-time high, but a failed break of this all-time high does give me some help in my idea here. Usually it'll get through this level and just rip, and we are not ripping. So gives me my short bias still.
Nothing worse than like getting a Modelo and then a line that's just
Delta now starting to get heavier. We got point of control here at 48.
really grinds my gears.
I still have my short idea through 39 because I just don't want to be wicked in below 44 because 44 was a liquidity area before. You could see, sweep it in, all that stuff. So I mean, we could just continue on straight up, or we could pull back to the VWAP, and that's what I'm looking for is that VWAP pullback.
An institutional player comes in to short it, and I miss the move and I don't jump in because I just took a stop out and I'm like weary of it. So I'd much rather join that guy coming in hopefully later. If not, there's not much to do for me. I'll be sitting on hands.
I feel bad that I bring hashtag power hour volatility to the fast markets. This is my apologies. I thought this was going to be a hell of a Monday morning, but it's the range
Mondays
the
can
last
be a bit
45
hard.
minutes. Sure feels odd.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. Granted, I just I just have a hard time. I'm just watching the video. That's the only thing I think I care about this week. If it breaks above 950, full port long. If it continues to kind of get stalled here, it makes sense to still be leaning short if somebody else wants to take the move first. But yeah, there's not really.
I don't know if you can understand. So I'm trying to explain what Delta actually is. All this Delta shows is who's aggressively buying or selling, right? If you see these big green candles, it means there's a lot of people coming in buying on the bid. If you see the red candles, a lot of people hitting the ask and trying to get short off of the asks, right? So that just shows aggressiveness because it's market orders. With that kind of aggressiveness showing into the market with these buys and a lack of follow through, it does lead me to believe that sellers want to come in. However, if one of these big sellers that is absorbing this liquidity disappears, then this could just continue to squeeze high side. So it's either an institutional buyer building in, and then waiting for that pop to finally disappear, to run off. If it doesn't, right, like I said, then we could sell off, and the sell off to VWAP does make sense, right? Because it's the volume average weighted price. It is where price likes to get pulled back into, especially if it wants to actually go through this long, get rid of some of these smaller players, get some of these people down here that want to buy it again, or who think that they're going to get more sells involved, and then rip it through that high at that point.
So NVIDIA is the only one that really matters this week, or at least to start the week, because all the other mega caps have kind of reported, and that's one that, if you've ever watched NVIDIA, Google, Apple, Microsoft report after hours, even though it's more illiquid, how much those can move futures when they report earnings, and how much options.
If you're on YouTube, don't be afraid to hit the like button. Yes, we did not trade any executions yet today, but we are still looking to see if the short will come in, and we want to be involved in the short if it does, because I think it'll come in fast and heavy because of the lack of follow through on the buy side through the all-time highs, and with the increased delta just showing that there's a lot of people wanting to buy at these levels and a lack of push, right? So I do want to get short. If I get the opportunity, it's going to wick me in. What the hell is going on here? Sorry.
Yes, we're going to continue to buy NVIDIA at all-time highs, then why not just join along with them?
Yeah, no one is stopping that trend. Think you're one of the five NVIDIA crushed earnings. Good luck to you. You're gonna need it.
But you may be right. You may be completely on the right side of it that a short's going to make sense after they report, but it may take 12 hours, for somebody big to come in and say, all right, I'm taking profit, I'm going to start to sell this down a little bit. So there's no shame if you're really looking for a swing short or something like that.
While we're waiting for this to come into play, I wanted to just let everybody know, if you are interested in equities and you want to have the best broker in the game, Day Trading Coffee Co. partnered with the Lightspeed broker, right? So if you get over to use this promo code here, coffee, they'll let you get in with $5,000. So you don't need that normal $10,000 that they offer for opening an account. And then you get these fantastic benefits by just using our code. And then with Deck over there teaching his shorting course, you could get involved and start making some money with Deck and his shorts and all that stuff. And using this promo code coffee will get you in with the lower balanced amount to open. You'll get 3 months free of Lightspeed. If you're trading options, it's 30 cents per option contract. Equity shares is less than a cent per share. It's 0.002 cents per share, $2.99 per trade, and that is top of the line commissions and fees, right? As best as you can get. So, and then their short locates are unbelievable as well. So just head over to that link, use code coffee, and you'll get all of those benefits, and then you'll be able to use Deck strategies. And when I was trading with T3 and I was on that prop floor trading with them, I used Lightspeed, and I love the executions, hotkeys. Everything was so easy to use once you set it up, and you'll love that broker, I promise you. So like I said, click the link. Even if you're not going to use it, my goal is to partner with Lightspeed long term with the coffee company. As I mentioned, I want to try and give out cash accounts with percentages of our revenues and our growth. So as we profit, I'm going to start giving away cash accounts. And the more I can prove to them that I have people clicking through the link, people coming in, even just looking at it, and they can do the analytics, they could show that we do have some interest, and we can do that partnership and give back to our community. So that's my goal. Even if you're not going to load into an account, go check out the link, take a look at all of the benefits that you could get out of it, and then let me know if you did. Just it'll help us out a lot. We will definitely look to get everybody into some good quality accounts with that brokerage. So let me know if you like it, if you don't like it, if you're interested in it. Just hit me up. I can answer some questions about it. I'm in direct contact with Lightspeed pretty much frequently, day-to-day basis. I could send them an email, talk to them about what these offers are for our community. So, like I said, it's a long-term partnership, right? I do have an affiliate with them, but I'm really looking to build an account so I can give out cash accounts for when we start doing equity stuff and whatnot. And if anybody wants to get over into Deck's room, if anybody wants to go into AK's room and learn how to short these crap stocks, those are the guys that you're going to want to learn from. You're going to want a great brokerage to use. For me, with the futures, we're going to leverage the prop accounts. There's really no reason not to. There's a lot of advantages to leveraging these funded accounts. So we will be doing that. But right now we are looking to earn 2 more XFAs. And when I do decide to get back into equities, I personally will show you exactly how I load into my Lightspeed account. And we'll do a little bit of everything. Once I can grow and get to a point where I don't have to be focused on all these other things, and I can focus solely on the trading and the streaming and everything like that, that'll be a next step in the journey. But right now we're trading the futures market. I just wanted to give everybody the opportunity to get over there, click that link, check out what Lightspeed has to offer, and then just let me know what you think. This looks like it still wants to fail that breakout. Huge delta pop once again. That's a wick off high. Rotate back through. Russell making new highs. NVDA catching a little bit of 948. I think if it holds below 950, we should still be good for the short.
And Dana, do you want to take a bite at that question as well? Like when you are, say, counter trend trading, let's say this very specific market, how does that impact kind of your stop loss and your take profit if you do say set up
For me, it would mean minimizing the time to choose in a trade, so it would be more of a snap. Like if you remember what Emily and I did, so we both had either this level and the price action went in, but then we just took
Waiting, see if this will fail.
reference price, which was somewhere close to UX, and we weren't going to hold it for a full failed auction, for example. We just took it, sort of got to a very nice movement in the same direction, so that would be my approach. In particular in equities. So some of the other markets,
Could be aggressive on the short based on that wick off high there, and try and take a cheaper short here from 52, just kind of limiting my risk to the high side, being wrong above 70. However, I just don't trust that this isn't going to fucking rip my face off, to be honest. Just consistently bid aggressive buyers, continuously just stepping in. Which way is it going to eventually break? This showing me a false breakout, grabbing liquidity over that value area high, showing that we're not quite accepting over all-time highs, but Russell is creeping up. S&P is doing the same type of price action without the wick grab.
limit your exposure in shorts.
Would you like move stops to break even quicker?
I don't even go to stop to break even. That doesn't really work for me because I find that even when I have
There's a breakdown of that trend line there. It is like a zone, so it still needs to confirm and hold and be down into this range here below 50. That could induce some sellers to come in. Do we get bottom ticked? Possibly. But I'm willing to wait for that confirmation down at these lows to take that short. Even though that seems like an area where there would be a buyer, I do think that we can get through it and give me that flush this time through that 39 level.
if I just let it play out, let the trade play out. And if I'm short, there's no time to move stocks to break even because I'm typically not in a short in an equity index for very long, right? But if I'm on the right side of the market, then I may be a bit more aggressive where I will allow a deeper drawdown because you have that trend on your side. This is like a million ways to do that, so it just depends on your individual method and how you like to approach things.
That's looks like it's getting there.
16 years and every
Looks like it's getting there. Let's see what happens. I do want this to get a little bit heavier. That's why I'm not entering up here, although I think that you could front run this, right? Risking up to those highs, on a smaller size. I am still wanting to take my 2 off the jump, and I want to take it back to VWAP. So like I'm not looking for a huge piece of this move. I just want to confirm the move, then enter myself. That's really why I wait for these kind of entries. I do usually call the breakdown pretty well, so I might start entering and front running my entries and my levels. But I think if we can crack through 44, then 39 should be safe to break. 44 was that liquidity area where the bounce could come in. NVIDIA is starting to roll. I think we'll probably get triggered in. It's just a matter of, is this going to be the buy zone or are we going to flush, right? So that's really what I want to see out of this. If you took the short through that trend line crack, you never took any heat on it. You could technically be at even. Not really. I would like it down below 44 before you went to even on that first contract. If you were looking to add through this low, because then now you're just all profit, maybe not even add through this area, because that is an area where you're just considering potentially as a bounce point. So maybe just start to mitigate. If you did take that short from the 52, my entry is going to still be down here at 39 because I am a glutton for punishment and I'm looking to wait for confirmed heaviness to come in through the 44. But I liked the short from right there. So if you were looking to short that, I did call that break of that line there, which is probably going to be a good area for you to start to be in your position right here. But if we get broken here, then hopefully we could just trigger in and get filled and break through this low pretty fast.
Order filled.
So there's the sell that I'm going to be in. We're in. See if we can get heavy quickly. I only need 800 on this account, so I will just let that tag that. I will try to get the break even if we can get to the lows here at 32. If we get stopped on this, that's fine. I did mention that 44 is probably the liquidity area, so if it pops over 44, we'll be out. I like the heaviness. As I mentioned from the top there, was probably the best entry at 52 area, right? Waiting for this break right here. I liked that short from the all-time high as well, based on the lack of follow-through with Delta being heavy, now heavier. The lack of pushing to the upside on the break when there was aggressive buyers told me that this sell was probably coming in. How low do we go is the question. As we get through this bottom wick at 30, I would like to get to even because I don't want to get wicked in, wicked out. I would like to take my money as I get it. I am in on this. I do believe that this, like I said, there's liquidity here. There's a chance that it does do what it just did and pop and go to highs, right? But I think, reasonably speaking, we could possibly wait for this 44 to crack. If 44 cracks and you get a squeeze, then we'll get stopped out. I just didn't get the push through. And I mentioned the short from the high is probably a better idea than where we got entered because there's buying out, people who want to buy down here. To shoot us to the highs. But 44, I did say, is probably another area of interest. So watch 44. If it holds, then we should still be good. 44 looks like it's holding. We should still be okay on the short through that 39 level. 39 needs to break. And then if we can get through 39 this time, the heaviness should come in. I don't want to lose more than that because I think if we do squeeze over 44, we're going to be out anyway. So I want to be out over that candle. There we go. Push down. I want to break through this 30 level. If I can get through 30, then I can get to even or get to 31. If I can get to 31, I'm going to get to even because I think that possibly gives me the idea of buyers coming back in as well. Get down. Get down. Take your risk. Take your chance at it. If it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, so be it. But like I said, from that blue arrow is where you're short. Really, the entry could have been easy to take. I'm stopped out there. I'm flat on this currently. If we get back up into that 52, potentially look to enter. I did like the short from that that upper area. But now that we've kind of cleaned that up, maybe the rotation through the all-time high gives you a squeeze again. But the original entry 39 still valid. I'll try it again, potentially cheapen it up a little bit
Inflation here just yet, but is it appropriate
through 44.
to return to a more normal balance sheet? Cautiously optimistic we can continue our battle with inflation as it becomes strong. Some good, some bad.
All right. Well, yeah. Before you guys get into TPOs, we do have a line change coming up. One and only
NVIDIA is still selling. I think we're still good here for the 39 cracks. So I'm going to enter again through 39. I just want to see if it'll get heavy. If it pops over 44 and gets up into this area here, I'm going to put my entry below 44 because I think we can get through 44. I would like to see this thing continue on.
Great to have you. You stick around. May need the house account. Stick around.
This just indicative of a good sell right here. Get rid of that. It was right here, that 52. We'll call it 52. Yeah, that's a nice little short there from that area. That's what I mentioned. Don't quite look to add here. I did say that this is probably where a good buyer wants to bid in. I took the short because that just was part of my plan originally. If we pop up into that 52 there, I will look to get short through 44.
Just mentioning single print TPOs. Where you at?
I'll short through here.
Potential failed upside auctions. Well, it looks like if this remains the high, this will be
Nvidia is still heavy. 70%, 69% short on the tilt. I still think we can get a little bit more on this. Aggressive buyer came back. Top end of this 750 is the higher volume area. So, like I said, getting down through 44 should give us a little bit of a flush again. And if we're going to take the chance on it, we're going to take the chance on it up here. Let it break down. Give us the chance to mitigate as we approach where our entry was last time, and then see if we can get a full follow through to VWAP.
unclean arrivals. We don't really want to see that. It means that somebody else pushed the price up a little bit higher before.
Order filled.
There we go. 44 cracked. We're in. See if we can get down to VWAP. If we can get 235, we'll get to even.
Move upside, that consolidates and creates yet another move upside. That creates an unclean arrival. So it's effectively a consolidation that sort of carried on.
We'll risk over that candle there.
There's some buying. So
I
until
want to see if we can flush through here. If we can get through this 30 into this purple zone, we'll look to get to even. If we can get through the purple zone down through 31, should lead us to VWAP. S&P is trying to get a little bit of a bounce. I think S&P does want to pull back to VWAP, so that should help us out. NVIDIA is heavy. It's selling off. It's at 944.50. Still looking to sell. I mean, we had a lot of aggressive buyers coming in here before, but now we have a flattened delta. So possibly that looks to help us out to the downside. If delta can start to crack again, the heavier sellers, we are right at point of control, which is the only other thing that bothers me on this attempt right through here. But like I said, I think we should be able to get through 39s. If we get through 39s, then we should flush to the bottom of this, and we should be able to get the break even. So there's 39. I'm going to get to the purple zone. We touch it. We're going to get to even. There we go. Now we're at even. Let's see if we can get a free trade out of this and see if we can get down to the VWAP. Trying to time it correctly is just what this is all about, really, you know.
see something change here.
Nothing doing here. It's probably going to stop us out at even.
Order filled.
Just no follow through on this. This was the real nice move there. If we have to mark it in, we'll mark it in on something here, but it looks like it's holding strong at that 36 level.
We do, as a matter of fact. I am.
You can see how strong this structure is. 74% short. That is a heavier tilt.
You should all get it. But yeah, I think we're gonna go for it. Give James a second to get my ding ding.
We took 2 shots at it, kind of just waiting to see what happens with this. I like my moves to happen pretty quickly, so that's why I do enter and get to break even and whatnot. If we can get through this, I will sell it one more time. Should have sold 44 again. This is my initial entry last time, so we're going to do it again. Fill it up again. Seems like it's getting heavy, so we're going to try our best to catch this little bit of a move. If it gets heavy fast, we want to be involved. I'm not opposed to giving a few shots at it.
Order filled.
And I need to get the VWAP here. It's my goal, my target there. Well, really, I would like to get all the way down, but this is a combine looking to try and grab an XFA out of this. 44 was the number, so I don't want to be below 44. I know I'm risking a little bit more on that, but it's okay. Didn't go quickly. 76% short. Slightly bothersome, but it just feels like that heaviness wants to continue on. Point of control there at 743. You're still in good, safe condition here. If you shorted that 50, 52 level, nothing telling us that the short is not playing through. So you're still, like I said, that's why I'm looking to enter again through the short, through the low. But we are like in that rangy type action. If you shorted the high, if you took more than one contract, if you took one off, you're safe. And not even. You have no real heat currently. The only thing is that the tilt is a little bit heavy short side. If we can get a little bit deeper into this, like I said, I wanted to get through that 31 level before I got to even before, but it just doesn't want to get to 31, which is my idea here of a breakdown. Because if you do break this 31, I think you probably do get the rotation. But we didn't. It didn't happen fast enough for me, so. If you were risking up into here, that 52, this is where you would have your stop, right around there. But we're not looking to do that. We're looking to risk to 44. Delta just sitting flat here, not quite getting you the breakdown through that level that I wanted. Point of control here. Could go to the high side now, to be honest, based on the way it's acting. $44 once again. I think it squeezes now through this level. There we go. Push down. What? I didn't want to add risk. De-risk. We're shooting our shot at it, trying to get this breakdown of this level. Once again, just going to probably get ticked out. Probably going to get stopped out one more time here. And I'm just going to kind of be a little more patient, take a step back, not try to FOMO into these things. Another break of the all-time high could lead you to that squeeze after now rejecting that 39 level 3 times.
the initial bounce level.
If I start to see a heavier tilt or a heavier delta or something where this level seems like it's going to break, then potentially look for that short. But realistically, seems like now that we've gotten here, held this level a couple times. That's pretty much that for that short idea right there. I think calling that 52, trying to front run it there is probably what would have been my best play. Right down to where I consider my entry, right? Overall, not really that over leveraged. We did good risk management there. Took a few shots at it down on these combines a little bit. 586. Normally, if this was an XFA, I'd lock myself out on this one, but I think we still have one more good bullet in the gun for this. NVIDIA is still holding on these lower end of this consolidation. So if 44 goes, I like it short, but
I like to think of it as short because of those failed auctions. Then there's liquidity above. Opening range is the low of the session.
I like this again. I'm going to short the 44. Keep it super tight.
His reactions of ES from this clean area.
Order filled.
Yeah. See how they keep kind of every time it hits to this orange rectangle area.
There's a heaviness. I like the 44 break. Get me down to 36 again. I can get to even.
Auction, not a V-shaped profile. It should just give way. And it's not giving way. Not. Still not too clean in shorts because that.
Your adjective for this just cracks me up, OD.
NVIDIA broke through that lower area from the consolidation. So usually that the NVIDIA flush will help our breakdown here. It's still just not getting any clean breaks of this. So potentially looking to just fizzle around here at these levels. But let's see if we can get the crack of the low this time. It's heavy, right? Like it seems like it's heavy. We got this bottom end of this candle broke once, twice, 3 times. Now it looks like it wants to break a third time. Does the third touch of this 36 level give way, or if it's going to be another bounce point, right? That's why I'll get to even on it because I want to see if that is going to either bounce or flush. And usually, if it's going to flush, it'll go pretty quick. If it's going to bounce, it's going to give you that little liquidity, little look there. I think everybody wants this to go short, and that's the problem.
What is delta and why is it important?
I was just about to put it in.
High or low?
A lot of times when it's not important, it certainly can be important when it is. Delta is, in futures, is quite simply the number of contracts that trade on the offer using buy market orders. Every contract adds 1 to delta minus the number of contracts that trade on the bid using sold market order. It's an order flow tool where you can see who's more aggressive, are the buyers or the sellers.
I'll leave it there. Fuck it.
When it's not important, it's when places
Our delta's not really doing anything.
it's still kind of important then because it can be indicated at all times.
I would like delta to get a little heavier, push us through, but it's starting to catch a little bit of a buyer here. It looks like there's some heaviness to it. We do have a base here, a breakdown base. There we go. Now we're even. Let's see if we can get through and down to VWAP. Can we get to 21? I mean 31. If we get to 31, we'll get up to the breakdown point. There we go. Down to 33. We're finally flushing. Is this going to be a true flush? There's the final boss level is 31. This 31.75. Is this going to keep us in this, or are we going to get wicked out? What are we going to do here? Here we go. Finally, the heaviness is starting to come into play here. Let's see if we can get through this 31. If we can get through 31, we'll run our stops to that area. We'll get ourselves secure at least one contract down here at the low. Limit buy. at 20. So if I can get a good hard flush at down to 20, I'll front run 20 at 20.75. See if I can get filled on that one. I don't want to limit my profit potential on this, right? There we go. There's a good flush on it. The heaviness did come in. I mean, everything we were waiting for happened. We're going to get tagged out on it probably on this wick of that low. But if we don't, then it still should come in. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to leave it up there. See if we can get the follow through on this thing. We're going to work on some stuff on this combine. Even though we're trying to pass it, we're still going to want this thing to do the right thing. And, follow through to the downside with this seller coming in. I didn't want to get wicked out there, so I moved my stop back up a touch. We're going to look to see if we can hold for the flush through 31. If we could hold down through 31, we should be able to get our stops to here and then move. I'm up over this. I'm up over the purple zone. We'll keep it up there. If it gets above the purple, then we are out anyway, probably at even. So secure a good $200 on that quick move.
Order filled.
Failed. That was good. Bought ourselves. I thought we were going to get a little more follow through on that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to be short. It's not,
Not a ton of follow through there. Somehow we were down. What did we secure on that? 190. Didn't get the full 200 on it. Interesting.
If it does, I probably want it.
yeah, I was just going to say that if it gets all the way up there, I'd be like, man, he's going to start taking out the excess single prints.
That wick this. See if this is going to flush 31.
This is not what a proper field auction looks like. It's too slow.
Yeah, it's not happening quick enough for me. A lot of what I like to see is a really hard flush. If this is just going to grind down now, it's very difficult to stay in or accept this kind of move. So the short from 52 is still valid, still good, still have that breakdown. If you have your stops over 49, that's a good area to be.
Here's your preview of summer trading, folks. We were talking about it earlier. This is why it makes sense. Go outside.
Heavy delta. Look at that beautiful break in delta, right? That really helped us out in that short. But at the same time, just same as the upside, there's just no follow through on any of these moves. So possibly look to see the long come in through 40.
Heading into election, like that's
That's what I was just gonna say. Just gonna say that. That may keep some of the summer even a little bit more interesting.
exactly. That's why I'm terrified of the VIX being at 12 still. It was creeping to 11. It was just
I'm going to take a buy here
eerie about
as a sweep low. And then I'm going to take a quick break even on it if it gets up over 44.
all of this and the election year and things like that. But yeah, I guess we are heading into summer, so cruise control.
We keep saying VIX is a lie.
I just it's like I said, for me, whether we're going into summer or not, there's just something spooky about all of the I guess the whatever you want to call it, headline risk, tail risk that's just potentially sitting underneath the all-time high or kind of slow grind bid that we may have. There's just it seems like anything it doesn't need a reason to ever boom, but it just takes one thing to make it really sell off and put some fear back into people hedging with volatility.
I think also, Nick, and I could do more research on this, but I think there's just structural changes that have just made the VIX completely different than it used to be with all the zero-date options,
Exactly.
among other things.
That's at least when I've noticed it. When you guys have seen the options market kind of take up whatever it's like 50% of the daily volume in stocks.
Not going.
Most of it comes from options now. It really has.
Russell just absolutely pumped to the high side, which probably is holding this up. And that's why I took the long here for a quick idea of a sweep of the low. Rotate up to the high side, back to the all-time. If it does get to all-time highs, then I guess up into that range would be reasonable. But is it going to squeeze from here, or is it going to just melt off the way I thought it was going to melt off before, the way we had it break down from this level, right? It's very interesting the way it's kind of playing out.
Order filled.
Yeah, we're flat now. Kind of just grindy, choppy price action that we shouldn't be trading very much anymore. We're like I said, we're looking to see if we can get ourselves a nice little good trade here to end the day. Get ourselves to green. 39 is holding now to the low side. This is my original short entry. I flipped to a long there on the idea of lack of follow through to the downside, sweep of liquidity here. We do have a good liquidity area there, but the heavy delta kind of coming in as well. Russell finally turning around a bit. I could go with a one contract short.
Order filled.
I'll go one contract short, risk to the high of that consolidation, and see if I can get this thing to go now through my original zone. Leave it alone. See if I can get this thing to go.
times because you may get the moves move back in your favor. So you can size down, you can widen your stops a little bit, and you can be right more often than you're wrong when you exercise. So it just gets a little easier to play.
I'm gonna see this crack. This
Both sides.
27 down to 21.
At least from my perspective, it's just impossible to want to short it, and you tend to get these slow grind up peak profile days like this all summer long. So we shall see. But at least I get something to talk about as I can continue to claim that it's fake, it's not real, it's being manipulated. when you go down the Avril Lavigne Twitter route, tinfoil hat thing that we were talking about, that she's been replaced. When you go down tinfoil hat Twitter, you'll find a lot of people who will say the VIX is being manipulated by the same people I think that were saying GameStop's being manipulated.
There's a little bit of a pop on it. NVIDIA grabbed a little liquidity, looking like it wants to push upside a little bit. 39 is squeezing a bit. You do have a delta pop as well. If it goes through here again, I'll sell one more, add one on. 44 looking like it wants to get tagged again. This looks like it's going to be the long idea coming to fruition. And then we're going to just get stopped and be done for the day today. Yeah, this is what happens when you try to fight that. But you're looking at everything that's happening, right? You missed this move here. That's the right move to take. There was no reason. Like I said, down here, just a lot of interest. And that's just kind of what gets you in trouble. If I get stopped out here anyway, it's probably max loss limit for the combine. So we are going to be done for the day on that. But we're going to see if we can get a sell from 44 to come in. Alrighty, down through 45. Definitely don't want to lose more than that. That's a nice wick. It's going to rip me out. So the long idea was great. It stopped myself out. And then we split back short, which now is going to stop us out. So avoid choppy markets. Avoid trading this stuff. If you can't get your original entry, then don't force it in. This is what happens. I'm going to be flat done probably. I have one more bullet left in the gun for this combine to be good. I went from being about 800 out. Now we're about 1,500 out, 1,700 out actually. So let's see if we can just build back in, get ourselves back into a better position, and go from there the rest of the week. Like I mentioned, this is probably just not tradable except for that 52 area that I mentioned right here, that short from 52 after the breakdown there with the liquidity grab over the overnight high, the all-time high, and then the delta, just the push in delta and the lack of follow-through, finally giving you a divergence, finally giving you that sell, and that's the trade of the day right there. That and the opening range breakout. Everything else that I did, that I waited, and I said, like, I'm a glutton for punishment, right? Waiting for that bottom tick to tick me in, tick me out, tick me in, tick me out. That's really kind of just what I ended up doing. Silly mistakes. Could just go in on, I have one little bullet left in the gun for this combine that I will probably take a shot at, see what happens with this all-time high level. Overall, this is very choppy, very sideways. If you got that big run up, could just be a pause for tomorrow and Wednesday, waiting for NVIDIA to give their earnings play. Yeah. Frustrating. This is why we're not in the XFA at the moment, because we're just seeing the market well, but not getting our actual good follow through. May has been a very difficult month to trade.
That's what we should have confetti for.
So you might have some leftover confetti. Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago is right across the street from our office, and they give away free bags of shredded bills. Nick is sitting right behind me. Actually, on New Year's, we went and picked up a couple bags.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You said you felt bad for the cleaner.
Yeah, we left a tip for the cleaning crew.
We got a really nice setup there with that winding up, fail breakout, rotate down. Then you just get no follow through on the breakdown of this consolidation here, which usually would give you on our strategy on normal days. You would get that follow through from that failed breakout, pushing down bigger players, trying to push this even down into VWAP to try and bid it up from the VWAP area, or at least into that 720 area. 720s tend to be a spot where they get bid. Even like this morning, we were waiting for that overnight low to get wicked, which seems like it always happens, except for it didn't today, and it came right down to the bottom end here and then just absolutely ripped up from there. So we saw the levels well, we saw the idea as well. We just didn't get the follow through that we like on our moves and kind of got ourselves in trouble. And then, well, I'm going to say me, because I feel like I called out some good areas for people to take really good advantage of, and I just didn't execute on them. And I hope you did.
We see Delta still increasing. Is that what you just said, Hope?
Yes, sir.
Delta's sticking up.
8,200 in the NASDAQ. All right, here's the 10:30 euro close. We'll see what happens here.
It's about 10:30, 10:28 Central Time. I'm trade here from 8:30 Central till 11 Central every single day. I'll be on as much as I can. Whenever I can, I'll be here. If I'm not going to be here, you'll be aware. I usually try to tell the day before, a couple days before, when I'm not going to be on a stream. So just consistency being here, just kind of talking through everything that we are doing on a day-to-day basis, what I'm looking at, all that stuff. So usually this is what I'm looking for. Overall, the last month, for the month of April, we were up $4,000. For the month of May, we're basically down the same. So it's just kind of an even. This just hasn't been a great month for follow through. The strategy works to a point, and then I fail to execute on certain front running ideas where I feel like we're not going to quite get to certain levels, and then I get myself in trouble away from levels. So there's just a few different things that are kind of playing into it. And then once you're trying to play with drawdown, you get tighter, you don't play your levels well. So realistically, I've called out some really good trades. Hopefully people have made some pretty good money on them. I just haven't executed personally as best as I would like to, and that's just going to be a constant adjustment, which is fine. I'll come out of the funk, always do, and we'll get back to trading better executions, better plays. We're going to get ourselves another funded account, 2 fundeds by the end of this week. Pretty sure about that. So let's see what happens in the next minute here with the Euro close. Nothing. A whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, it was definitely a V-shaped day now, like I said. It's now we've built some more structure. NASDAQ definitely was a V-shaped day. Yes. I mean, same thing.
Before it crosses the high there.
I'm willing to take this quick little short here to end it.
Because they can sometimes look like they're continuing, and then they come back into the belly distribution curve. So typically, if you miss that first run up, all that's left is just like little scalps. But only if you have a good enough range. And unfortunately, we only have like barely 7 ticks, 7 candles range. Yes. That's not
Inside the
quite
P
enough.
area.
Yeah, you would have to nitpick entries, and that's very difficult.
There's the speed up price pushing up now through that level. Look at seeing if it gets to that all-time high. If it gets to it, watch for the squeeze through all-time highs. If it's the second time through, I'll take a chance on it. if it wants to go.
The S&P is still moving.
I'll take a chance on it. Most people looking to short, so like I was, most people looking to short. If it wants to go through that high, let it.
CL this morning or something.
I really wish this wording was on the side more, but it's because we don't have, like I have the S&Ps there.
Oh yeah, I just asked him a question. We got a full house in the office today. James and Gabe are both there doing some production training, and then Nick and myself.
Wicked it.
Very big office, and it's tight in here pretty fast.
NVIDIA selling some. Say Russell straight up still. Yep, Russell still straight up. You got a wick test here on price, wick test on Delta.
Get the confetti ready for the shredded money, but we are all out. We spent it all.
I want to see an all-time high squeeze now since I'm going to try and take a long through it since I don't normally play it. I don't recommend max lockout days. I don't encourage it. On combines, I get a little more aggressive. I'm trying to get back to the XFAs with them, so I am going to be a little aggressive on these. See if it does go here. If it fills me and I get stopped, we get a max loss. That's cool. We can come back tomorrow, figure it out. Max gain.
Get the confetti.
Champagne ready?
Second time trying to break through all-time highs. See if this will go. And follow through this time. Second touch on it.
We get over that 950 strike so far. I'm assuming breadth has improved since then.
NVIDIA is still hanging around the lows of the consolidation.
Not great.
No action.
Last night we had 2 rotations in the first, initial bounce period. Today we got basically just one move. If you caught it, great.
Order filled.
And we're in long. Let's see what happens.
We'll find a house with top trade, but
Mondays have historically been my worst trading days.
All of you have been
I
tracking
mean,
that.
Mondays across a wide range of products can be quieter in general, but not quite this wide. So maybe, like Nick said, this is maybe the summertime starting slowly. Some people are away from the desks,
Really, we only have risk to about there. So if it goes, it goes. If it fails, then we're going to be out. Normally, I'd be looking to kind of short this, but with the all-time high stuff, secondary touch on a breakout point could be a good area for a long. But like I said, we'll probably get stopped out on it, and then it'll run up. I'm just taking a quick chance at it with the little bit of drawdown that I have left on the combine here. Like I said, I am trading combines this week, looking to get a couple extra XFAs going. We're not getting any buyers coming in here, so watch for the sell to come in off this high. Since I took the long, it's probably going to sell off. That's usually how it goes when I'm in a bad funk.
So you're right on my problem.
weekend vendors, eh?
What are the weekends for?
JD, did you stay for the whole game? For the whole game last night?
We did. Gabe's a huge Timberwolves fan, and the game was really tight, so we stayed out until the end. Gabe's on our production.
All right.
Minneapolis.
Then we're going to get our stop filled
We went out last night and got a burger and watched
and get locked out.
Game 7.
Unless it's going to be the bottom of the tick there and we're not going to get it, I think it's going to melt off. It just feels heavy. My short bias always kind of creeping in with these moves. It's 50-50 on the tilt, so really it's not terrible. But like I said, because I went long and I only have a little bit left in this drawdown, I'm just probably going to end up getting stopped on it. So it is what it is. Overall, like I said, we're going to come back tomorrow and look to get better execution. Unless this thing rips to the high side and we get lucky here today, then we'll be done anyway. But I just, I need to be a little bit better with my executions moving forward.
Actually, it's more fun to live in Dallas and actually hate on the Cowboys and the fan base than it is to be a Cowboys fan in Dallas.
That was interesting there. see if the breakout happens at any point. Otherwise, it's going to melt off pretty hard. Stop filled. There we go. Let's watch this sell off now because we're done. So there we go. Loss limit hit. Unfortunate day of trading for me. When I called, I waited all the way till 10 to say that this is going to short. It happened. I didn't execute it. I executed down here and chopped myself up. So shit happens. You move on to tomorrow. I just, like I said, opening range breakout is really that trade that I wanted to execute. I was super pumped about this trade, and then I just didn't execute it. I wanted to see it wick through this low, and I didn't get that wick. And then you got that break of that level. I just overall was talking about it, didn't execute it, and then that's what happens, right? You have a bias coming into the day. When you're in execution mode is in crap. I was talking about this. So you can go back to the very beginning of the stream. I said if we get down into that previous day, the overnight low, we're going to look to get long off the opening range breakout. It wasn't a very wide opening range, so we could have easily taken it and accepted the risk on it for the whole width of the range. And then, the risk to reward there, obviously, I would have taken one off at VWAP and then let the other one ride. Would have had no issues on it, really. I mean, minute to minute, I would have been at the overnight high and passed the account and been fine and done. And except we didn't execute it. We waited all this time for this to come play out. We didn't get the follow through in Delta, so we started talking about the quasi divergence that we were having here, right? This whole move here, you can see that it was very consolidated, lack of follow through the high side. You got through all-time highs. You wicked that all-time high. I said because of this wick here and this big bit of delta down here, you have a lack of follow through. There's a good chance that the rotation to the downside happens, which obviously you see right there as I called out that level at 10-ish. When did that happen? 10-ish? I think it was right at 10:56. So the short there through this break of the trend line I said that's probably a good place to get your entry. You could limit your risk to the high side. My entry was down here because that was my original entry from the idea here. Obviously, I should have adjusted the entry based on the setup criteria and then just let it play out. And then if I really wanted to add at the bottom, I would have been fine to add and then been able to take one off at the low. But realistically, overall, ended up poor entry here. Chase it, and then you get locked yourself out. Now the short probably comes in from this high, and we're not able to take advantage of it because we locked ourselves out on the combine. But we are showing everything full transparency here. So here's the short coming in. I am looking to see that Chicago and Jersey. Chicago office will be polling, so okay.
At the end of the day, anybody that was affected by any of the trades that
unfortunately, we decided to lock ourselves out of these accounts. Bang, bang. The XFA is drawn down to about 33 bucks. Not seeing the markets very well. I mean, I'm seeing them really well. The executions are really the issue here. Been doing okay as far as calling out our trades, calling out our locations for everybody, giving you every opportunity to maximize your risk to reward. And, just personally speaking, haven't been able to, maximize this, right? We can trade this XFA if we wanted to, but it would be micros. It would need to be a short from that high, though. Would not be preferred to do it here. It's all-time high there. This low, the consolidation here is important.
Recently, Office Space, if you're unfamiliar with the reference that was made earlier, it does still hold up very much, especially if you come from a true corporate environment where the monotony of middle management does still exist. I can promise you it does still. Mike Judge, did it with Silicon Valley. He obviously did it with that movie, and he's very.
Look at that. Beautiful sell-off from that high. Finally getting that follow-through on it. 75% short. Do you actually get the full follow-through, full breakdown, or is this going to be another bounce rotation higher? Are we going to stay consolidated the whole day? NVIDIA rotating down to 939. Very good.
That's life right there. Not paying attention. There's 30 points.
Frustrating day because, execution-wise. But realistically, like I said, levels are there. We're calling out good points. It's just a matter of being able to capitalize on what we're doing. If this is going to be the true actual breakdown point, we'll see. It's 73% short on the tilt, so I don't quite trust that. The delta looks heavy.
This market, we'll see if we can break through view off here. But if it unwound the entire move from this morning, it would not shock me in the slightest. We'll see as we went back towards that 5,300 strike.
Happened last week.
Exactly.
Heavier delta. A micro from there to VWAP gets you 50 bucks. I would like a bounce back up to that all-time high again, see what happens. I think you're going to kind of just rotate and bounce around. Overall, like I said, it's very difficult, choppy day to trade. I also mentioned that in the fucking write-up. So if you do look at the write-ups, it is in there. Just pay attention to your levels. Be mindful of your levels. 739 level was the important bullish bearish point for the day. We held above it, so we are now in the bullish area. Like I said, the opening range trade was huge. That was the big move. That was the right move, the trade of the day. Called it out, didn't execute it on it, and so be it. We're, at that level now. So let's see, we get a flush here. Stop sell 1 through the low here.
If you get your points in 30-minute opening range trade or something like that, get in, get out. Do not sit here and watch mind-numbing price action. That's probably going to be a liquid low volume.
Nah, I'm not going to take that trade. I want to try and dig this XFA out, and I want to be smart about it. I want to be able to trade on days that are actually there. What is this? No, that's not there. Okay. This is the leader. Locked out, liquidated. Talked about how this was going to go short because we took the long there at the high. Really didn't think that there was going to be a breakout there, but I played it anyway. This is tried and true trading.
End up giving more fees to the broker than you actually make.
Salute Your Short says that unclean demand sounds like a good band name. I do like that.
Yeah.
I think if you're trading in this, you're kind of just getting chopped up. Like I said, if there's a range here, if you're able to trade that range, good on you. I did take this long here, decided to get myself stopped out on it and before it ran to the high. So like I said, executions are poor managed, but the ideas are correct, right? Which is sad to say that we're in that kind of funk of late. So just kind of looking to see if we could just bounce back the rest of the week. Still totally fine and trying to get this thing funded by the end of the week. 2 more XFAs looking to get back into the groove and back into pulling money out of these markets one day at a time, right? That's all we can ask. That's why I like these our levels normally. I kind of, now that this has happened today, kind of want to see this pull back even more. It would be beautiful. Tomorrow we could open somewhere lower, somewhere down around that 18.7, 18.80, 18.687, somewhere down in that range would be nice. Back down in that area would give us some more opportunity for playing with levels. But got about 15 more minutes to go. I'm done trading for the day. Obviously, I locked out. Overall, not the best start to the week, but realistically, I'm still satisfied with the analysis of everything. I switch over to micro. This is micro. Let's go with the NQ. So like I said, I'm satisfied with the analysis, right? Everything about what I talked about was good. We talked about the opening range breakout trade here, run up to the highs, came right into all-time highs, wicked all-time highs, saw this delta, attempt at pushing through, didn't quite get the follow through, saying that the short was going to probably come in. Short came in there. You could have took that. I took it here, didn't get the follow through, chased it a couple times. And then I tried to take the long one time through there. It's kind of a shot in the dark, kind of. I was already drawn down, so I might as well take it. Don't follow that lead. Do it the right way. Every dollar counts, especially if you don't have an XFA or haven't had funded accounts before. Be selectively aggressive here. Do what you believe is correct. Like I said, I said this was probably good. Take that, add in if you get through low, and then I said I'm probably going to get bottom ticked and rotated out. And once that happened once, then I should have just waited and paused, saw what happened with it again, and then possibly look to see that rotation. But hindsight's 2020. You can't look that way. You just got to review, go over what you're doing, and be from there. Tomorrow we will be back on 8:30 a.m. I'm going to start my stream sign off early since I'm not going to be executing. I hope you guys are able to find something, that's tradable the rest of the day. If not, don't be afraid to not execute on a day, because then you get days like this. But overall, like I said, it's a good start. It's not a good start to the week, execution-wise, but analysis-wise, we're still in good shape. So at some point, the execution is going to flip, and we'll be good to go. But until tomorrow morning, 8:30 Central, I'll be here. I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.